Hey everybody. So I have decided to start telling stories on video. I want to capture some of the stories from my life, from my experiences, and get those on video. So this will be the first one of those. And I've decided that the first one is going to be my coming out story. And I'll start off by saying that I grew up in the South, Midwest South. I don't know, whatever you want to consider it. Some people consider it Midwest, some people consider it South. I grew up in Oklahoma, in Arkansas. And where I grew up, being gay was most definitely not acceptable, especially in the time that I grew up. I grew up in the 90s into the early 2000s. Gay was a word that we would use, that people would use to make fun of others. Oh my God, you're so gay. And it was like very derogatory. And that was the norm. That was the norm. Like, whenever you were pissed at someone, they were a faggot. And whenever people weren't acting like they should be, they were gay. Or, you know, whenever they came off as being flamboyant, they were gay. And it was like a joke, like jokingly, you're gay. And sometimes I would join in on that and shouldn't have, but it was like being a part of the cool kids, part of the norm. We were country boys and growing up on farms, and to be gay was not in the slightest bit acceptable. It just didn't match the masculinity of growing up on a farm in the country, and our granddads and our dads were hardworking men. You were going to be a man where we grew up in. And if you weren't a man, then why were you here? You were some kind of alien, basically, if you were anything but this manly, like country boy masculine thing. And honestly, I feel like maybe, most likely, definitely, there were other gay people, but it was always kept a secret. Like, people kept that a secret. Religion tells you, the Christian religion tells you, being gay is wrong and bad and it's a sin. It's like the worst sin. And so, a lot of times you didn't get to see people who were very openly gay. And if they were very openly gay, they were pretty flamboyant about it, not just everyday country boy or everyday masculine. So I grew up having what I knew was a physical attraction to guys and an emotional attraction to guys, but denying that. Whereas, like, everybody in the norm was about the boyfriend, girlfriend, and that cutesy thing. And so I tried to fit into that, because definitely the boyfriend thing wouldn't have been accepted by most people. So you try to fit into what is known as the norm, and that is boyfriend, girlfriend, that stuff. And I did do that. I had girlfriends growing up. One of which is my first actual girlfriend in 5th grade, and then from 5th grade until 8th grade off and on, is actually one of my Facebook friends, and we're friends now, and she totally understands it. But yeah, so I tried to fit in growing up into my environment, and I was like, you know what, this is not right. Something is wrong with me. I'm going to ignore it and hide it, and I'm going to stay away from it so I can still be a country boy and be masculine. And that was more important to me than being gay and being attracted to other men. I would rather hide that, other men, other boys. I would try to hide that growing up, instead of accepting that and being myself in that. And in some ways I regret that, and others I do not. Because I think when you're growing up that, yes, like, it's important to have the little boyfriend, girlfriend type thing, but it's not that important. And I feel like maybe we'll move eventually to where hey, it's acceptable for there to be two boys together openly. Um, Not to say that didn't actually I didn't actually do the same things as like a boyfriend thing would be. I do remember having my best friend and us doing basically the same things that I would have done with my girlfriend, just more secretly and not, we were flirty, but we did that more secretly than being like, oh yeah, we're boyfriends. So, yeah. Anyway, I hid this and tried to deny it all the way into my 20s. Whenever I was in my 20s, I was more concerned with career. I joined the Air Force, and I was more concerned with like advancing in my career in the Air Force and learning what I could about my job than I was about dating or about finding the one. And that's what I focused on. That's what I put my focus on. I think that if I hadn't have, then I would have actually been probably, if I wasn't so concerned about hiding being gay, then I probably would have been more open about dating and doing more of the personal life stuff. But I didn't. And it eventually ended up happening that I was like, I need to figure this out. I really wasn't 100% sure I was gay physically and emotionally. I knew that I was attracted to guys, and I knew that I had never really found a girl, a female, that I was attracted to emotionally and physically in the same way. Like physically I could get it, emotionally it was never there. And I could do stuff with girls physically and be completely fine with it. But emotionally the connection, it just wasn't there. It wasn't there, and I didn't want to have to force that. And I had actually gotten to a point in my life that I was like, maybe I'm neither gay or straight, and maybe I'm not meant to be with somebody. And I was getting to a point of just accepting that. But then I hit an even stronger point where I wanted to figure out if I was gay. And so one day I went on MySpace, because MySpace was a thing then, in 2008, and started searching for gay guys who were openly gay on their profiles. You could use advanced search features on MySpace, be able to find other gay people, and so I did. I went and I searched out for all the locally gay people, which there wasn't, and I was actually living in Colorado at that time, working as a retail manager after my time in the military. And I ended up finding some and I found this one that I thought was really attractive and started talking to him, and we talked for a while. I can only imagine what he was feeling, having this stranger send him messages on MySpace that were just like, hey, how's it going? And just like random, just generic conversation things. And then finally it got to a point where I was like, hey, do you understand why I'm contacting you? And he was like, I think I get it. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I am questioning if I'm gay or not. And I find you attractive, and I would love to hang out sometime. And he was like, absolutely, we should go and hang out. It could be a date or just hang out or whatever, I don't care. And so we talked on the phone, and eventually we set up a date, and we went to go have pizza, and then we went to go see Dark Knight in theaters. And we went to go see that and ended up kissing in the theater, and I don't know, it was just there. Like there was a feeling there, and I was like, yes, I know without a doubt that I am gay, and I need to accept this. And in all honesty, I feel like I'm actually more so bi than I am gay. Like physically, I could get with both men or women. Emotionally, it's only there for guys. So, and having both of those is important. So, sexually, I am bi, and emotionally I am gay. So anyway, one thing led to another, and we dated for a while, and I ended up telling him that I wanted to ask him to be my boyfriend, but I didn't want to ask him without talking to my family first and letting them know that I had met somebody and was going to pursue a relationship. And so he actually was like, no, you don't have to come out. You don't have to come out to anybody. It's totally fine. I don't think you think I'm an embarrassment. And he was totally cool about it. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be proud of my boyfriend. So, after having that conversation with him, the next day on my lunch at work, I called my mom. And part of me thought she would be accepting of it. Part of me knew that she would struggle with it a little bit, but I figured any kind of struggle she had, she would get over. That she would be more accepting of it. And I called her, got her on the phone. We talked for a little bit, and then I was like, so I have met someone. And she told me that she was like, oh, well, tell me all about her. I think it's a really bad thing that we are so accustomed to the normal guy and girl scenario that we ask about her or about him if it's a girl talking to us, that we automatically assume that it's the opposite sex. I honestly hate it. I hate it that in all the books and all the movies, it's automatically assumed that, or it's automatic that if there's a love story, it's going to be a guy and a girl, unless you see like a B-rate movie, like a second-rate movie that is LGBT special or genre. I find that like really frustrating. Anyway, so she asked about the girl I was seeing, and I was like, well, for starters, it's not a girl, it's not a her, it's a him. And she was quiet, and I was like, are you still there? And she was like, yeah, I'm still here. And she was quiet longer, and she was like, so are you trying to tell me that you're gay? I was like, no, I'm trying to tell you that I'm bi. Because at that time, I wasn't for sure how to categorize it, if I was bi or gay. And bi was just easiest because she had only ever known me to be with females. And I feel like I would have lost either way in that, because if I say I'm gay, then, oh, you're making the extreme change. You can't be gay because you're with girls. And if I say I'm bi, I get the response that I got, which was, you're just confused. You are just really confused about life, and you'll change your mind. And, this is just a phase. You'll get over this phase. Everybody has this phase where they question who they are, and you'll get through it. You'll get over it. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to change. I don't think I'm going to get over a phase. I don't think this is a phase. I'm bi, Mom. And she was like, you can't be bi, you're just confused. And I was like, no, I'm bi, I'm absolutely bi. Well, she said, well, if you're telling me you're bi or gay, then I am telling you that I cannot accept it. And I'm telling you that I've always thought that all gay people should be dead. And if you are telling me that you are gay or bi, then I wish the same thing on you. This is a sin, this is horrible, and I cannot and will not accept it. And she said, so until you can change your mind, until you have changed, then I would prefer not to talk to you anymore. And you can call me back whenever you've changed your mind. And I said, well, I'm not going to change my mind, Mom. She said, well, then I guess we won't be talking anymore. She's like, do you have anything else to say? And I was like, nope. She's like, well, then goodbye. And she hung up the phone. And after that, I tried to talk to her more, and she wouldn't accept it. And since then, I've had a few times of contacting her where she tries to tell me that I should act like something that I'm not. She's telling me I should act straight. Or if I'm going to bring, like last Christmas, I actually talked to her and I was like, I wish that you would just accept me. And she was like, I can't. And I was like, well, I have a boyfriend now and he's amazing and I love him to death and we're probably going to end up getting married and having a life together and I want you to be a part of that. She was like, no, not unless you guys act like something you're not whenever you're around me. Well, she didn't say act like something you're not, but unless you guys can act like you guys are just friends. And it's not something I'm willing to do. And that's my coming out story. I ended up telling, because I knew my mom would actually talk to other people, I ended up telling my grandma, and my grandma was totally accepting of it. My grandpa said he would never have anything to do with me again. My uncles didn't want anything to do with it. My aunts were accepting and were like, hey, we should go shopping. And like I had changed a person. I didn't ever change, though. I never was a changed person. I was always me. And yeah, like it didn't change who I was. I was still the same person. I was just finally admitting that to myself and to others that emotionally I was gay. That's the frustrating thing about it, because I went into a place where I don't feel like I really belong. Like, gay people, a lot of gay people expect you to be this flamboyant thing, and I'm not that, so I don't feel like I fit into that. And then those straight people that I was telling, like my family, somewhat expected me to change into that as well, or expected me to go back to being into girls, and I couldn't be that either. So I ended up in a place where I just felt really alone, and sometimes I still feel really alone. There have been people that accept it, there are people that don't. I've gotten where I just don't tell anybody anymore. It's just who I am. And I almost kind of wish that that's how I had been all along, just who I am. And you can either accept it or not. I'm not going to make a special announcement about it. I don't feel the need to make a special announcement about it. You either accept it or you don't. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to be the person I am, and that's that. And I've gotten that way with just about every area of my life, with one exception, which is Stafford's family. But I'm starting to get that way with them, to where I am who I am, and you can accept me or you don't, and if you don't, you don't. But I'm not going to change to be. Apparently, this is going to have to be 2 videos mashed together because they went too long. That rarely happens. But anyway, this is it. This is the final part of the video. Be who you are. Be happy about who you are. Be free in who you are. It's important to be able to live your life as the person you were born as, regardless of what that person is. Be proud of yourself. Be happy in the life that you have. Don't pretend to be like something you're not just to make everybody else happy, because in the long run you end up losing your happiness, and it's not worth it. You can do more, you can be more successful, you can accomplish more with your life if you are the person that you were born as, and that you feel comfortable living in the skin that you were born in. That's all. That's a lesson. That's my story. That's my coming out story. I am much happier now. I live a life with Stafford. I live a life as myself. That's the most important thing. And I'm happy in it. So, yeah, that's my coming out story. Hope that it matters to you, that it makes a difference with you, and that you enjoyed the story, I guess. Okay, have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.